Hi, so this is a pretty neat little toy where you take turns pushing down one tooth at a time, where eventually and seemingly random the crocodile will shut its mouth on the loser. Then opening the mouth back up, all teeth are restored and you can instantly play again. But how does it actually work, and how random is the position of what tooth, or which teeth it turns out, actually makes the mouth close? Alright, let's open him up and find out. With the back now removed, we can see that there is a spring being responsible for the actual snap mechanism. The spring is in turn connected to a wheel, where the top of the head is then connected to each end of this metal stick. However, there's a lot more going on here, so let's dig a little bit deeper. Oh well, there we go. Here we can see that when the wheel with the spring attached to it moves as the mouth opens, it also pushes this little piece forward, making it in turn push this little cogwheel attached to the bottom of this rotating piece that is responsible for lining up with one or two of the crocodile's teeth. This rotating motion is also how the random part of which tooth has to be pushed down for the mouth to close is created. The locking mechanism for actually keeping the mouth open once it's been opened is located here underneath the spring-loaded wheel. Here this little plastic piece gets stuck after the wheel has been rotated past a certain point. In turn, the release mechanism then becomes this whole circle towards the front of the mouth, that if we push any part of it down, it makes the raised plastic bump low enough that the spring makes the wheel rotate back to its standard position again. Alright, so far so good. What about the teeth then? Well, this is a little science project of its own. Every tooth is here on the end of its very own little plastic arm, and in their normal state they are all automatically pushed up and out of the mouth of the crocodile. And if we try to push them down in this state, they just come back up right away. Here we also though have an extra set of small arms right next to each tooth. These are all attached to this round part in the middle that can be used to push all these small arms towards the tilted section of underneath every tooth. So what actually happens here is that if we push and hold this round thing with all these small plastic arms on it so that it pushes towards each tooth bottom part, and then we push a tooth down, the little plastic piece firstly gets pushed down the little slope of the tooth and then sticks underneath, preventing the tooth from going back up. Pretty cool. If we place the whole tooth section back onto our crocodile, we can also see that this piece that gets used for readying all the teeth to be able to be pushed down and stay that way gets positioned right in front of the spring-loaded wheel, where a little cutout in the wheel pushes the little arm tray underneath the teeth to the side, making all the teeth ready for push-down action once the wheel is in its mouth open position. So really neat actually. So lastly then, why does some teeth makes the mouth close while others just stay down? If we move back to the little cogwheel disc thing that gets rotated slightly every time the mouth is open, it is actually just a matter of that the arms on this disc now gets positioned underneath either one or two of the crocodile's teeth. When any of those teeth are pushed down, the arms help the bottom of the tooth reach the bottom circle, which in turn then gets pushed down, which then in turn makes the spring-loaded wheel unlock and spin to close the mouth. When this happens, all the teeth also immediately reset to their normal position, since the cutout on the spring-loaded wheel is no longer making the arms underneath each tooth push against them. Alright, that is basically about that. Bit of an odd video perhaps, but I've always been curious on how these things actually work, and hopefully you have been too. Alright, thank you so much for watching, have a nice day, bye!